Go ahead. Go ahead. It's all right. Is that the one about the bag rolling down the street? Play the one about the bag rolling down the street.
Okay, but that's a crying song.
We already did that?
No, we didn't do that.
Oh, that's a crying song.
It might be. I don't know.
Damn, I'm all confused now. Somebody bring me a bag.
It wasn't a bag woman, though. It's a bag man. See, I'm going to explain this to you.
Explain it. Explain it now.
Explain it, Lucy.
Yeah, I need you here.
I'll be happy.
I know. I don't need no more. See, I got a story to tell. Talk a little louder. Well, you know. Alright.
I remember this.
I want to tell you a little story. Now, Tommy, let me get into this thing a little bit, and then we'll... See, I'm going to tell you a story about the paper bag. It don't come till later.
You tell me to stay out the way is what you tell me. Shooting birds.
Now check it out now, listen. I wrote this song about probably when I was about 16 years old. Out in West Hempstead, Long Island. We used to get out of school, cut school half the time, and hide back in some alleyways where we could smoke cigarettes and, yeah, drink beer and all that good stuff. And we used to walk down Hempstead Turnpike. It was Hempstead Turnpike. And there was a guy that used to walk the streets all the time. And if you were out late at night, you could hear him yelling and screaming at all the cars and anything that he can look at. Back then, they called him a bum. And everybody used to make fun of this guy, but us kids were pretty cool and we liked him. Because when we'd cut out of school, we'd give him a quarter and he'd give us a cigarette. His name was Jim. Everybody called him Jim the Bum, but we liked him. He used to say things like this. I heard that he was in the Navy at one time. It's funny how you end up out in the streets. It's been a long time, so I'm trying to remember this just right. Yeah. Well, late at night, we'd walk down Hempstead Turnpike and he'd be yelling and screaming at all the cars and everybody'd be going, "Get the fuck out of the road, you bum!" But we'd pick him up in a little Volkswagen, my friend, me and John. And he'd get in the car, drink a little wine, say, "How you doing, Jim?" He'd go, "All right, I'm doing all right. How you guys doing?" Say, "We're doing fine, Jim." He goes, "Let me tell you something." He goes, "I was in the Navy." They say, "Hey, man, we're 16 years old." I say, "That's great, Jim." He goes, "You know what SOS stands for?" And we go, "What? Save our souls, Jim?" And he go, "No." And he go, "Sorry, old sucker. That's what I am." And well, many days went by and we'd hang out and pass this guy up. And then one day something really terrible happened. our parents wouldn't let us hang out, and they seen him, they just trying to get us in the cars. They say, stay away from that old bum, you know. I said, that ain't a bum, that's Jim. All right, well, anyhow, let me get to the bad part of this story. We were walking down Hempstead Turnpike one night, and we saw a whole bunch of flashing lights in the street. So me and a couple of my buddies who thought we were cool, drinking beer and smoking cigarettes, hanging around near the White Castle. We had a little bit of weed on us at the time, you know, we were kind of scared, but we went up to the lights. And it was the strangest thing. We all looked at each other and we said, oh man, all we seen, there was this big white sheet laying in the middle of the street. I'll never forget this. And there was this big trail of blood going to the curb. And it closed the street down. And everybody was looking. And we said, what happened? What happened out here? We asked the guys, and they said, nothing. Just some old hobo got hit by a car and nobody knew who he was. And I never forget, because I saw this pair of boots coming out of the white sheet. And I looked at my friend John and I said, man, I wonder if that's Jim. So we, you know, just kids and shit, we waited for the Sunday paper to come out. See if we could find out who it was that got killed out on the Hempstead Turnpike. There wasn't a damn thing but a little line that said vagrant gets killed on highway. So we said it must have been Jim. So for weeks we all went down where we used to cut out of school and went to the places we used to see him, and he wasn't there. Went down to the dumpsters where we used to give him a quarter for cigarettes. He wasn't there. Went to the White Castle where we used to see him laying out in the back. He wasn't there. And he wasn't just a vagrant. He was somebody that we knew. So me and my buddy said, we ought to write him a song. Because he was a man, and he was in the Navy, and he was a pretty good guy. He never hurt us. Everybody was just scared of him. So this one's for Jim.